Off the top at noon, we begin with the latest developments out of Cuba. The U.S. reportedly preparing to indict former Cuban President Raúl Castro. It's all in connection to the 1996 shootdown of two Brothers to the Rescue's planes. That's an organization opposed to the Cuban government. 4 people were killed. Good afternoon. I'm Naja Sherman. For many in South Florida's Cuban exile community, the reported indictment represents a long-awaited step toward accountability. CBS News Miami's Maribel Rodriguez is your reporter live in Little Havana. Maribel, you have more on the effort and reaction.
That's right. President Donald Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio have a long-standing interest in this case, and now 30 years later, it appears something will be done. Today we spoke with Cuban Americans who say this is long overdue.
For the first time, the U.S. government is taking steps to indict Raúl Castro in connection to his involvement in the Brothers to the Rescue shootdown.
We're hopeful that something will be done in regards to the indictment of Raúl Castro. That's a very important step for justice.
It was the main topic of conversation Friday morning at Versailles restaurant in Little Havana.
It should have been done a long time ago. But, you know, we weren't in that situation we're in. We didn't have President Trump.
30 years ago, 3 Brothers to the Rescue planes were on a humanitarian mission in search of Cuban rafters. They were in international airspace when 2 of the planes were shot down by the Cuban military. 4 men died. In February, local lawmakers urged the U.S. government to reopen the case to seek an indictment for Raúl Castro. They sent a letter to President Donald Trump detailing Castro's involvement in the Brothers to the Rescue downing. In the letter, they asked President Trump to consider audio recordings obtained by the Miami Herald where Raúl Castro could be heard giving orders to shoot down the Brothers to the Rescue aircraft. They also cited a Time magazine interview from weeks after the shootdown with Cuban leader Fidel Castro, where the late Cuban leader identified Raúl Castro, the Cuban defense minister at the time of the shootdowns, as part of the chain of command that decided to target the Brothers to the Rescue planes. Now, decades later, Cuban Americans are hopeful he could be held responsible.
For the family, for justice, for the community, and also to send a signal to these dictators, you can't not murder people in impunity.
The potential indictment must be approved by a grand jury. Live in Little Havana, Maribel Rodriguez, CBS News, Miami.
Maribel, thank you. The news comes just hours after CIA Director John Ratcliffe made a historic visit to the island. We're told Ratcliffe was there to express President Trump's desire to work with Cuba, but only if changes are made. Meantime, Cuba's energy crisis hits a new breaking point. New pictures from overnight show fires set by people on the island after the government announced it had run out of oil. Just yesterday, President Miguel Diaz-Canel said he would accept the U.S.'s offer of a $100 million aid package. Stay with CBS News Miami for the latest developments out of Cuba. You can always stay up to date by clicking on our Cuba in Crisis tab on CBSMiami.com.